Hi guys, Steady Eddie here. This time having a walk through Udon Thani. Lovely sunny day. Wow, it's the month of April, hot stuff. Okay, so in this little old video, I want to talk about a subject that's very important to travelling, wherever you may be travelling to. And that is the subject of trust. Can you trust people on your travels? Not just Thailand, but other countries as well. Well, the simple answer to that is no. I mean, you know, I've travelled to many places, dangerous places like Brazil, Colombia, all kinds of places, and I've never had any real problems. And one of the reasons that I've never had any real problems is simply because I don't trust anybody. Now, there's basically two types of people, aren't there, that you encounter on your travels. There's the locals in that country where you are visiting, and there are Westerners, fellow travellers like yourself, maybe from the same country as you are. Okay, so let's talk about the locals first of all. Now, you're a Westerner, you've come from a so-called civilised country to a more developing country. Now, the armchair experts back home will tell you, beware of those countries, they're dangerous, you'll get kidnapped, murdered and all the rest of it. Now, that's unlikely to happen. That is unlikely to happen. But you shouldn't trust people, okay? So for what circumstances should you not trust people, or what circumstances are you likely to encounter on your travels? Well, let's say you're travelling to a country like Thailand or Philippines or wherever. Let's take bus or train stations. Say you arrive at a bus or a train station and all of a sudden these people rush to help you with your luggage or show you the correct platform or whatever. Well, don't trust them. They say that they're trying to help you when really they're after money, or worse, they're after robbing you. They're trying to rob you. I mean, I've been in bus and train stations in many countries, and sometimes, especially if there's a language barrier, they can be very confusing. Now, these touts play on that. They play on your confusion, and they know the area a lot better than you do. And basically, I've actually had my luggage swiped at a bus station in Colombia while I was buying the ticket. One of the touts who loads your luggage onto a bus, how did he do it? He'd done it within seconds. He took my bloody luggage while I was distracted at the bus station, at the ticket counter, and the next minute, it had disappeared, my large case. He'd actually taken it without my permission and put it on the bus, and I kind of freaked out. I demanded to know. I went to the bus and demanded they take the luggage off, and I shouted at him, and they go, "Oh God!" When you're at a bus or train station, you may have a big heavy suitcase. Keep hold of it at all times and do not let anybody touch it. It only takes a few seconds, and they'll swipe it. I was lucky there that he put it on the bus. It could have been someone who bloody run off with it. So don't trust people who offer to help you at bus or train stations. They are, they're a real liability. That's a real danger zone. Arriving at airports when you're in a foreign country. Okay, say you arrive at an airport like Bangkok or Manila. Now, Thailand isn't that bad, Thailand is, to be fair, it's one of the more trustworthy places. It really is. It's certainly one of the safer countries that you are likely to visit. But let's say you arrive at an airport and you're looking for a taxi. You arrive at, say, Manila, and you're looking for a taxi to take you into town. Well, you have to be alert there. Now, I had a friend who quite recently, got in the wrong taxi. He wasn't very alert at the time. He'd been to Manila many times before, but somehow somebody approached him and said, "Taxi, mate." Now, if they approach it and say taxi, make damn sure that it's official, because in that case it probably isn't. and he got into a taxi, and then somebody else got into a taxi, so he had to deal with two shady characters, and they demanded, you know, lots of money from him, and they took him on a bit of a mystery tour, and he was worried about his own safety and his luggage and whatever. No, don't trust people who approach you at bus stations, train stations or airports. If they say to you, do you want a taxi or a taxi, just say no. You'll get a taxi, an official one, in your own time. Don't cut corners on taxis, because that's very, very dangerous. Even if you arrive at an airport taxis may be a lot more expensive, but it's worth paying the extra to make sure that you're safe. Another area where you shouldn't trust people is at border crossings. You know, if ever you've done land border crossings between, say, Thailand and Cambodia, you'll get all kinds of shady people coming up to you, playing on your confusion. You know, you'll get people coming up to you saying, passport, sir, before you even get to the passport counter. And quite often they're not official. They just want your passport so they can blackmail you into getting it back. So don't trust people at border crossings. Make sure you proceed slowly and carefully, and only trust people who are actually behind the ticket office counter. Okay, so who else can't you trust? Well, friendly strangers who offer to show you around. Now, some people get really, really badly stung by this. Not so much in Thailand, but maybe other places like Istanbul. You'll often get friendly local strangers who say, hi, my friend, where are you from? You need showing around, you need girls, you need this, that and the other. Be careful of them. They're trying to lead you into a tourist trap. Wherever they are, they can be friendly people and appear to be helpful, but wherever they're trying to take you, whether it's a restaurant or bar or whatever, they're after their commission from that bar. And worse, if you allow them to lead you into a tourist trap, what happens with the temptation of meeting girls? What happens there? Well, you know, you'll go to some shady establishment, they'll lock the doors, you'll be introduced to a girl at an exorbitant price. The champagne starts flowing, you're expected to be paying for this. So this sly bastard who's led you into this tourist trap, I mean, how much are you going to be stung for? $500? $1,000? $2,000? Never trust friendly strangers who offer to show them around. They've got other motives. They're trying to rip you off, okay? Tell them to bugger off. How about girls, Thai girls? Can you trust them? Or, you know, Cambodian, Philippine girls, whatever. Can you trust these girls? Well, it depends where you meet them. Now, I've never ever had any bad experiences of being robbed by girls or anything like that, because I'm cautious. Now, if you meet girls in a bar, then they're most likely to be trustworthy, because that girl is known to the bar, and she, you know, she's a regular there, and if she robs you, then you know where to go looking for her. You know where to report it to the next day. Freelancers, they're a different kettle of fish. You know, I mean, where are you going to meet freelancers? I mean, if they're not working in a bar, then maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe they are untrustworthy, shady of character. And freelancers, you're taking a bigger risk there. And of course, no matter where you meet girls, if you bring them back to your hotel room, don't be dumb enough to leave wads of money or valuables, jewellery on the dressing table and then go take a shower, because by the time you come out of that shower, you will probably find that your valuables have gone, and so has the girl. Okay? So, you know, be careful. I've found that Thai girls are really, really trustworthy, but use your common sense and don't push your trust too far. There's also something else that's come to light recently, and that is landlords. Some people have rented condos and have handed over a large amount of money, you know, as a deposit or, you know, rental for a certain period of time, only to find that the person that they've handed the money over to is some kind of charlatan. It's not the official agent or landlord, and this person is then absconded with the money. Now this has happened a few times recently, and so basically if you're renting a condo or anything like that, you just make damn sure that the person that you are handing the money over to is the official person, because you know there's been some really bad cases where people are being stung, and of course, I mean, try and make sure that it's an official establishment, and of course always ask for a receipt. Okay, so we've talked about locals in these countries that you visit and why you shouldn't trust them. Well, you shouldn't trust anybody anyway. But what about people from your own country? You know, I mean, I come from Britain. What about British people? Would I trust British people or other Westerners? No, I wouldn't trust them at all. I mean, when you're travelling, you know, you befriend people. It's nice to befriend other people. But you know, you always must have a bit of a mistrust. I mean, why are they making friends with you? Now, I've met people on my travels, and I've had a beer with them, I've talked to them, I've even arranged to meet some people for a night out. You know, it's nice to have the company of fellow travellers, and, you know, we're all travellers together, so it's nice to latch on to other people. But you've got to learn to suss these people out early on. I mean, if somebody is over-friendly, I mean, just assume that they're after something more than your friendship. I mean, I've had instances where I've met somebody and, you know, I've got to know a guy, I've had a couple of drinks with this guy, and the next minute I've heard that he's got a story, you know, about why he needs to borrow money. Well, borrowers are a pain in the arse wherever you go. They've always got a story. You know, this guy's told me that he's having trouble with his bank back home. They've cancelled his card for some strange reason. But he's expecting a nice big sum of money sent to him from, you know, a family member, you know, which is going to arrive very soon. And that'll be the answer to his problems. But in the meantime, could I lend him some money? Could I lend him £1,000 to tide him over while he awaits for this big lump sum of money to come through? What a load of claptrap. I've heard it before on more than one occasion. And, I mean, do you seriously think that I'm going to lend money for somebody who I've known for 5 minutes? Look, when you're in a country like Thailand, a lot of the people that you meet here are really good people. A lot of them are affluent people. They've got plenty of money to tide them over into their retirement. They've got no money worries whatsoever. But you do meet a few of the other kind. There's some borrowers out there. There are some people who are hanging around countries like Thailand who simply can't afford to be here. And they're looking to cadge money from other people. So, you know, if they've got a story about why they need to borrow money, well, borrowers have always got a story. I mean, don't listen to the story. If I want a story, I'll go and read a book. Borrowers, you know, if someone befriends you, fine. But if they are of the borrowing nature, learn to suss them out as soon as possible and get rid of them. Borrowers, you know, in for the penny, in for the pound. They don't get any better. So you have to ask yourself, for what reason should I trust anyone? I mean, is this person, you know, trying to get me to trust him or her? And for what reason? What circumstances should you be put in where you are required to trust people in the first place? I mean, I don't trust anybody, end of. Well, instances can come when you least expect it. Now, let me tell you about something that happened to me in Cuba many years ago when I first started travelling to long-haul countries. You know, I was kind of new to, you know, backpacker-style travel in them days. And I was caught off guard in one instance, right? Now, this is what happened. I was staying in a private house in Cuba, in a town called Trinidad, a beautiful historical town in Cuba. And when you stay in a private house in Cuba, they have a blue triangle on the door of the property so that you know that that's official, government registered, and your belongings and everything is safe in there. It's no cowboy shady establishment. It's got a blue triangle, and it's, you know, it's fine, okay. So I was staying in this private house in Cuba, and I needed to get back to Havana. So the day before, I went to the bus station, and I purchased a bus ticket from Trinidad to Havana, about a 3-hour journey, something like that. Now, the following day, I came out of the house with my suitcase, and there was a taxi waiting outside, just an ordinary car, with a Cuban fella driving it. Well, I was expecting a minibus to take me, to the bus station for the main bus. But the lady of the house then conversed with the taxi driver in Spanish and said that there is not going to be any bus. On the same ticket that you purchased, you're going to be going to Havana in a taxi. This taxi here, he's going to take you to Havana. Okay, well, it's not going to cost me any more money. Okay, fair enough. So I got in the taxi, put my suitcase in the boot, I sat in the front, and there's 2 other people in that same taxi going to Havana. One of them is a Cuban fella, and the other is an English girl of about 30 years old. Good-looking girl, well-spoken and all the rest of it. So they were going to be my fellow passengers in this taxi. So, anyway, the journey commenced, and I sussed out straight away that this English girl, she said she was out there for many, many months. She had a business visa, and she had a Cuban boyfriend, and I forget what she actually told me, but she was out there for months, and she seemed to know Cuba very, very well. So she had this kind of music, system where she was playing music and singing, and I thought she's a bit lady, and I've been around people long enough to know I had the feeling she's on a little bit of the old naughty substances. But anyway, she was chatty and asked me lots of questions. It was all fairly very good humour. And then we got about halfway through the journey to Havana, and then the pivotal moment, she asked me a question, okay, which caught me off guard, I must admit. This good-looking English girl said to me, "When we get to Havana, which hotel are you staying in?" And dumbly I replied, "I'm staying in a private house in Havana. This driver here is going to find me a private house to stay in." Okay. She didn't waste any time. Quick as a flash, she leaned over to the driver and conversed with him in Spanish. Yes? Okay. Well, what was that all about? Yeah, I had an idea. So anyway, as we get to Havana, the taxi pulls into Havana, and then this English girl starts talking to the driver again, giving him directions. And anyway, the taxi pulls into some shady little area of Havana, and then the driver says to me, "There you go." And the English girl said, "Yeah, there's a private house for you to stay in." I said, Really? That's not an official house." And she said, how do you know that? I said, "It hasn't got the blue triangle on the door. I've read all about this. If it's got the blue triangle on the door, then it's an official registered Cuban house. That isn't. That could be anybody. I'm not staying in that." Okay. So the taxi commenced, and she conversed with the driver again. And then a while later, we pulled into another shady street and another house. And the driver stopped the car, and this English girl said, "Yeah, how about that one? That's a nice house." I recall she said something like, "I know the people there. They're nice people." And I said, "Yeah, but it's not an official house. That one hasn't got a blue triangle on the door either. I'm not staying in any private house that is not official government registered." End of. It was clear that the driver wasn't choosing these houses. It was her. She was the one who was picking these houses for me and my luggage to stay in. So it happened a third time, another little shady area, another house which I flatly refused to stay in. And with that, this English girl in the back, this good-looking, well-spoken English girl, got really, really irate, and she started being abusive and swearing and everything. "What's the matter with you?" she said. You don't trust us, do you? That's what it is, isn't it? You don't trust us. I had an altercation with her. I said, "I've known you for bloody a couple of hours. Of course I don't trust you. And you should not be interfering in where I'm staying. The driver hasn't chosen these places for me to stay in. You have. You picked these. Now, what are you all about? What are you telling a driver to take me to these houses for? Oh, she got up. You don't trust us. You don't trust us. Damn bloody right I didn't. So anyway, this mouthy English girl and her Cuban boyfriend got out of the vehicle, and I got out the taxi because I wanted to know that they weren't taking my luggage, my suitcase, with them. And anyway, they bloody disappeared, and she was red-faced by now. She'd started out to be a charming girl, but by now she felt humiliated. She felt livid because I wouldn't trust her. Well, think about it. Do you blame me? Do you not think that she had an ulterior motive? Why did she want me to stay in these houses? She knew Cuba very, very well. She knew the people who were staying in these houses who were not officially registered. Come on. Do you know what? I know some people who would have fallen for that. You know, they would have fallen for her and their Cuban boyfriend, you know, their friendly charm, and they would have said, oh, yeah, okay, I'll stay in those houses. And then they probably would have been robbed of their passport, their money, their luggage, or all kinds of bloody heinous things. Now, I wasn't expecting that. When I got in that taxi that day, when I come out of the hotel, or that private house in Trinidad to go to Havana, I just wasn't expecting something like that. But this is it. Never trust people. Yeah, you know, always question their motives. Yeah, you know, especially people, Westerners who've been out in this part of the world for a long time, they may be running short of money, and they may be trying to relieve you of your money. That's why, you know, I never tell anyone how much money I've got. If you let people know that you've got money, you'll be a target for every bloody scumbag who wants to lend, or who wants to borrow, or who's got a story to share with you. Don't trust anyone. Don't trust Westerners. Don't trust locals. Don't trust anybody. And it's one of the first lessons of life, let alone travelling. Okay? So anyway, I'm going to have a little wander through Udon Thani town. And you know, I hope I've, you know, shared a little bit of information with you there, gave you something to think of. Don't trust anybody. It's a simple rule. If someone's trying to be overly friendly, just always question the motives. Listen, I've said me piece on all of that. Listen, thanks for watching. Have a great day, a great evening. Keep thinking positive. Stay safe. Never trust anybody. And I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.